If you are working with complex formula and you are facing difficulty to read and reapply those formula again and again, then I will show you how to convert these formula to a simplified formula in Excel as well as in Google Sheet. Consider we have this data sheet. The first thing we need to calculate the growth rate. Of course, there is no built-in formula available in Excel, but we can use a simple logic to calculate the growth rate. If I click on D4 cell, simply type equal, open parenthesis, click on C4 minus, click on C3, close parenthesis, divide by C4 and hit enter, and this is how we calculate the growth rate, and I can simply drag this formula down to calculate the growth rate for all of the months. But of course, we can easily convert this formula into a Lambda formula and reuse it easily. What I need to do, I simply need to copy this whole formula without equal sign, hit Ctrl C, hit escape key now, and click on E4 cell and simply type equal Lambda. Open parenthesis. We need to define parameter for our Lambda function first. I will simply define start, comma, end, comma, and the next thing we need to define our function. So you can see parameter are calculation. In this case, I want calculation. Simply hit Ctrl V to paste our formula. In this case, I will simply replace C4 with end and C3 with start. And again, this C4 with end. Now we need to close parenthesis for Lambda function and hit enter. Of course, this function will give us an error. But what I need to do, simply click on E4 and copy the whole formula, hit Ctrl C. Hit escape key now and click on formula bar, and here you can see a name manager. Simply click on this one, click on new. What is the name for this function? In this case, let's say I'm going to define growth rate. And now I will remove everything in refer to and simply hit Ctrl V and hit OK and close this window. Now I will delete this function, and if I simply type click GR, you can see a new function here, growth rate. Simply double click on this one and we have two parameters, start and end. For the start date, I will click on January cell, hit comma, and for the end date, I will click on February cell, close parenthesis, hit enter, and this will return exactly the same result. Of course, this is a basic example. Now I will show you the same formula in Google Sheet. Now I have the same data in Google Sheet. What I need to do for simplicity, I will just go to Excel sheet and simply copy this whole formula, hit Ctrl C, go to my Google Sheet, click on data, and here you can see name function. Simply click on this one and we need to add a new name function. What is the name for this function? Of course, in Google Sheet, we don't need to create Lambda function for custom function development. I will simply write the name, let's say growth rate. You can write description, whatever you want for this function. Now we need to define argument placeholders. In this case, I will simply write, let's say start, click on this enter, and we need to define another parameter, let's say end. Click on this enter button. Now in formula definition, I will simply click and hit Ctrl V. Of course, this data is same as per my Excel sheet, so nothing changed. In this case, I will change C4 to let's say end and C3 to let's say start. Now instead of C4, I will simply define end and simply hit next button. I will leave these additional notes and simply create this function. And now if I click on D4 cell and simply type GR, here you can see growth rate, and this is a name function. Simply click on this one. We need to define start and end. I will click on C3 cell, hit comma, and now click on C4 cell and simply close parenthesis, hit enter, and I will simply drag this formula down. And it will give me the same result as per Excel. And this is how we create a Lambda function in Google Sheet. Now I have the data of student and their total marks. The goal is to calculate the grade, and we can easily use ifs condition to calculate the grade. Simply type equal ifs, open parenthesis. If the mark in this cell is greater than 90, then we want to get the result excellent, hit comma. If the mark in this cell is greater than 75, hit comma, then we want to get outstanding result, hit comma. If the mark is greater than, let's say, 60, we want to get, let's say, superior result. And if the mark is less than or equal to 60, then I want to show, let's say, average. Quotation mark again, close parenthesis for ifs condition, and simply hit enter. And this is how we calculate the grade of student. Now every time if I write this formula again and again, this will consume a lot of our time. So how to convert this formula into a lambda formula? I will simply click on D4 and copy all of the formula, just leaving the equal sign, hit Ctrl C, click on E4 and simply type lambda. Open parenthesis, what are the parameter? In this case, my only parameter are the marks. So I will simply define marks, hit comma, and I will simply hit Ctrl V to paste my function. And now instead of C3, I will simply replace with marks. And now I simply need to close parenthesis for lambda function, and if I hit enter, I will get the same error. But what I need to do, I will simply copy the entire formula, hit Ctrl C, and now click on formula bar, click on name manager, click on new. The first thing, I need to assign a good name for my formula. In this case, let's say I'm going to give score calculator. In the refer to area, I will simply remove everything and simply hit Ctrl V and hit OK, close this window. And now I will delete this formula and simply type equal. If I simply type SC, I can see the new function score calculator. Simply double click on this one. And now I will only assign the mark. Close parenthesis, hit enter. And if I drag this formula down, we will get the same result. Now how to build this formula in Google Sheet? I will simply copy this whole formula. Since for learning purpose, I just developed the Google Sheet. As per Excel sheet, everything is same. I will click on add new function here. And we need to define the name for the function. I will simply write score calculator. And for the argument placeholder, I will simply define marks. Click on this enter button. Now simply click on formula definition and hit Ctrl V to paste my whole formula. In this case, I will simply replace C3 with marks. And now our formula is ready. I will simply click on next button. We don't need additional info for our parameter. I will simply create this function. Now I will simply click on D3, type equal. If I simply define SC, I can see the new function score calculator. Simply double click on this one. And now simply assign the marks, close parenthesis, hit enter. In Google Sheet, sometimes you can see suggest autofill. In this case, I will accept the suggestion, and this is how we calculate the result using a custom function. In the next example, I want to filter out all of the data for HR, and then I want to sort based on column E, and then I also want to remove duplicate. So for this, I will simply type filter function, open parenthesis, what is the array? In this case, I will assign the whole data set, hit comma, and for the include parameter, I will assign the team column, hit comma, and simply type equal. Whenever this equal to, let's say, HR, quotation mark again, close parenthesis, hit enter, and this is how we filter our data set. Let's say I want to sort this data based on earning column. In this case, I will click on function again and simply define sort function, open parenthesis. And what is the array? This whole function result is my array, hit comma. For the sort index, I want to sort based on 4 column, 1, 2, 3, 4, hit comma. And for the sorting order, I will simply define -1, close parenthesis, hit enter, and this is how we sort our data set. Now how to convert this function into a lambda function? I will simply copy the entire formula, hit Ctrl C, click here and simply define lambda function, open parenthesis. What are the parameter? In this case, let's say my parameter are array. In this case, I will define parameter, let's say array table, hit comma, and next I will define, let's say, filter column parameter, hit comma, and I will simply hit Ctrl V to paste my whole formula. Now I will remove B3 to E18 and I will simply write, let's say, array table, And instead of D3 to D18, I will simply write filter column. So if I simply write FIL, you can see we have a filter column parameter, and I will simply double click on this one. Now I will close parenthesis for lambda function and simply hit enter, but again we get an error. Don't worry, simply copy this whole formula, hit Ctrl C, click on name manager, click on new. In this case I will define, let's say, team filter, and remove everything in refer to area, hit Ctrl V and simply hit OK and close this window. Now if I delete this function and simply type team filter, so you can see we get a new function. Simply double click on this one, define the array, and what are the filter column? In this case I will define team as a filter column, close parenthesis, hit enter. Now in this example you can see we use example for HR data and our formula is hard coded. Now if you want to develop the same function in Google Sheet, it's very simple. Simply copy this whole formula, hit Ctrl C, go to Google Sheet. On the third sheet you can see I have the same data set, the same example. Simply click on add a new function here, define the name, let's say team filter. For the argument, I will define, let's say, array in this case. Click on enter button, and our next parameter will be, let's say, filter column. Click on enter button. Now click on formula definition and simply hit Ctrl V. Now instead of B3 to E18, I will simply write array, and instead of D3 to D18, I will simply write filter column. And you can see the color automatically changed to green, mean we type accurately our parameter name. I will simply click on next and create this function. And now if I click on G3 cell and simply type team filter, you can see a new name function. Double click on this one and simply define array, hit comma, and for the filter column simply define team column, close parenthesis, hit enter, and this is how we get our result. Of course, in this data sheet, we have only two HR data set. In the next example, I will show you a little bit advanced function. In this case, let's say I want to search dynamically. The first thing, we need to create a drop down here. So I will simply click on this cell, click on data, data validation, click on list, click on source, and simply define the team column. Hit OK, and the beauty of Excel 365, it automatically ignores the duplicate entry. Now for example, I select HR and I will define the same filter function here. But in this case, I want to filter out by H2 cell value, close parenthesis, hit enter, and I also want to sort this data set. Sort, open parenthesis. What is the array? This whole function result is my array. What is the index? I want to sort based on 4 column in descending order. Simply type -1, close parenthesis, hit enter. Now if I change HR to, let's say, sale team, it will automatically filter out the sale data set, customer support, IT support data set. Now how to convert this function into a name range? Simply copy this whole formula. Hit Ctrl C, click here and define Lambda function. Open parenthesis, what are the parameters? In this case, we have 3 parameters. So I will simply define array, hit comma, filter column, and third will be, let's say, filter cell. Hit comma and simply Ctrl V to paste my whole formula. Now instead of B3 to E18, I will simply write array. Instead of D3 to D18, I will simply write filter column. And instead of H2, I will define filter cell. So if I write FI, you can see filter cell. Simply double click on this one and close parenthesis for Lambda function, hit enter. Again, we get an error. Simply copy this whole formula, hit Ctrl C, click on formula, click on name manager, click on new. In this case, I will define, let's say, dynamic filter. Remove everything in refer to area and hit Ctrl V, simply hit OK and close this window. And now if I delete this one and simply write dy, you can see we have a dynamic filter. Simply double click on this one, define the whole array you have, hit comma, define the column, hit comma, and what are the filter cell? Simply click on H2 close parenthesis, hit enter, and this will return the same dataset in descending order. Now how to create the same function in Google Sheet? I will simply copy this whole formula, hit Ctrl C, go to my Google Sheet, click on Expert Lambda Sheet. In this case, first we need to develop drop down. So I will click on H2 cell, click on data, and here you can see data validation, click on add rule, click drop down from a range, select data range, click here. In this case, I want to search by area. So I will select the entire area column, hit OK, and simply hit done button. Now my drop down is ready and I can see each and every area. For example, I select Asia and now I will go to data tab again, click on name function, click add a new function. In this case, I will write, let's say, area filter. For the argument name, I will define array, hit enter. Our next parameter will be, let's say, filter column, hit enter, and next will be filter cell. Hit enter. Now go to formula definition and simply hit Ctrl V. I will simply remove B3 to E18 and I will simply write array. And you can see color automatically change. Replace D3 to D18 with filter column and H2 with filter cell. Now you can see each and every color is matching with our argument. Simply click on next button, click on create button. And now if I click here and simply write area filter, here you can see we have a new name function. Simply click on this one. First we need to define the whole array, hit comma. Then we need to define filter column. In this case, I will define area, hit comma, and then we need to define the filter cell. I will click here and close parenthesis, hit enter, and this is how we create a name function in Google Sheet. I hope you learned something useful and get idea how to develop the Lambda function in Excel as well as a custom function in Google Sheet. If you have a specific question, just write me a comment. If you like the video, please subscribe my channel for more video. Thank you so much.